Hi, everybody. I'm Andrea Waltz, co-author of the book Go for No. Yes is the destination. No is how you get there. And the best piece of advice I ever got from an entrepreneurial standpoint was to find a problem and that people have and solve it.
Ooh, find a problem and solve it. That is great advice. So, who gave you that, Andrea? Where did you learn that in your career?
I think we learned it from a couple different places. One from, I want to say it was Jay Abraham in, he did a great book on the seminar business. I've read it in so many places. I've actually heard it repeatedly. Like there's not one person, but it's now the advice I give to everybody.
Yeah, no, it's great advice. Talk to me about that a little bit, right? Because we all have problems. I mean, if you're, especially if you're in sales or sales management, holy crap, right? Like we got some days it feels like we have nothing but problems, and so we're never ending work. So tell me about like how that shows up in your work and the good work that you do.
So, how it really shows up and where we took that exact advice and put it into practice in our own business was we said, let's make sure that we know the problem that we solve. So, it's helping people overcome fear of failure and rejection. That's kind of the problem. Who has this problem? A lot of people in
Everybody.
every sales business, exactly. But also, it shows up in writing books. And one of the things that we have done, kind of our side hustle, as if we really need one, is to write and publish books for other people. We've done a few books over the years. And that is the really main criteria that we look for when giving advice to somebody about publishing a book is what's the problem that you are solving with writing this book, who's the ideal reader. So it's the same thing. It's who's the prospect, what's the problem you're solving. That's sales, starting a business. It's who needs this item, who needs the widget that you want to develop, what problem does the widget solve, right? And in our book, $1 Million Book Formula, we talk to people who want to write a book and we say, who's your ideal reader, what's their problem, and how do you solve it? And if you can have that clarity, I feel like in every industry, in every niche, if you have that clarity, then the rest kind of becomes easy because that's the hard part.
Yeah, that totally is the hard part, right? That's the market fit, that's the market research, that's the, hey, not just what do I do? Like, hey, I shovel, manure. It's really, who do I help, right? It's the farmer that might not have a tractor to get it out there, or it might be the field that needs that, right? And farmers don't have something to transport it, or whatever it is. So that's so interesting with that. Yeah, I've never simplified it that much, but yeah, that just makes so much darn sense.
Well,
Brilliant, Andrea.
well, thanks. I mean, listen, I didn't come up with it, but I think if you if you're aware of the problem and who and how how you solve it, and so then you back into, well, who has this problem, then I think you get real clarity of your purpose. And I was teaching this is something I rarely do, but I was teaching a good friend of mine, his audience, about digital marketing and kind of going out on social media. And I said the number one thing that you have to have, even when you're out on social media, is get really clear on your purpose. Why are you doing this? And it comes back to who you help and what problem you're trying to solve. And then based on that, you can set some goals for how you want to show up on social media. But having that clarity, instead of just going out and saying like, okay, well, I have to create all this content and what does that look like? And what should it be? It comes back to, well, create the content that will, explain and answer the question, what's the problem? Why do people have it? How do they typically solve it? When does the problem come up? Who has this problem, right? That's the foundation of content creation. So I feel like it works its way into every facet of business.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I not that we're going to talk too much about the $1 Million Book Formula, but it's the same thing, right? I mean, it's the same exact thing. And I think that's super important. And friends, if you're listening to this and you're like, okay, well, I came for Go for No, but boy, this sounds really good. It's $1 Million Book Formula, great book, super easy to read, super practical, super tactical. Definitely recommend that as well. So, but we're talking about Go for No, right? Which I'm super excited about. Now, Andrea, this book, gosh, I think I got introduced to it maybe 10, 15, 20 years ago, long time ago, right?
Long
So
time
that's
ago.
that's when we first got connected. So why did you write this book, though? Why did you and Richard write this book?
So when we wrote that book, we were teaching Go for No to our retail clients. And this was like we were doing corporate training, Fortune 500, Fortune 1000 retail organizations. And we were teaching them all kinds of stuff about how to sell to customers, how to serve customers better at a higher level, retail management philosophies. But Go for No was the thing that everybody loved. And when we would follow up with companies, they'd be like, oh, yeah, we're Go for No. That's what we're talking about. That's what all the managers are talking about. And we said, wow, Go for No is like it's such a good message. And we were both really passionate about it. And Richard said, well, let's write a book just about Go for No. And it could be for anybody, not just people in the retail industry, but it could be for people in insurance sales and financial planning and anybody who has to face failure and rejection. We've had casting directors give it to actors who are going out on auditions who have to face rejection. So that was the impetus for writing the book. We decided that it should be a fable, although Richard actually decided that. I was against it. It turned out he was right. Making it a fable was the smart thing to do because it really connects with people emotionally. It's a story of a guy who wakes up one morning in a gorgeous house. He has no idea how he got there. He's in this beautiful house and he's walking around and he discovers that the house belongs to he has somehow traveled mysteriously, we don't know how, 10 years into the future. And the house belongs to a wildly successful 10-year in the future version of himself. And he ends up meeting himself in the future. And the two of them talk and try to figure out like, he's trying to figure out like, how did I become so successful? What's the thing? And he himself is telling him like, it's this Go for No thing. And he's like, I don't remember that. So we spent a lot of the book trying to figure out what's this secret and how did this future version of him learn this concept basically.
Yeah, I love the fable form. It makes it so easy to read and so easy to understand for folks. So Andrea, I got to put you on the spot here. So what's the secret? What's the secret of Going for No?
It's literally just to ask.
Come on, just ask. That's it.
I know. It's just to have the courage to ask. And it's weird because I feel like somebody said this the other day. They said that a lot of people just don't realize that they have permission to ask in anything, even from a sales standpoint. Like they don't think that they can, that asking is somehow pushy or that they can start asking deeper questions. And it's like, well, yeah, that's exactly how you have to serve people. So that's how to ask on the sales side. But I think that in general, people think that asking is maybe pushy, that I'm pushing, like a little kid asking their parents over and over for something. I don't want to look pushy. I don't want to look like, what will people think of me? And it's really just about having courage to be proactive and that most people don't mind that you ask.
Yeah. Well, if you've done your research, though, let's be clear, right? Not just a wild ask of, hey, you want to have pizza sometime, right? Like, for instance, Andrea, you're married, I'm married. If I asked you out on a date, you'd be like, dude, I'm married. No. Like, that's not going to work, right? But if it's a relevant ask and if it's acceptable, right, based on the relationship, based on that, what we know anyway, right? That's a lot better. Is that kind of what you're talking about here?
Absolutely. Asking intelligently, obviously.
Yeah.
And some people hear Go for No and they think like, so Go for No, that's so ridiculous. That's so dumb. Who wants to hear the word no? And that's why the subtitle of the book's so important, because yes is the destination. No is how you get there. So it's not just about hitting your head against the wall and beating your head and just getting no and you have no idea why, and you're just talking to people randomly and asking random people for whatever. Obviously, yeah, you want to do it smartly, because a lot of times you can get good information from those no's too, right, Phil? I mean, if you are prospecting, for example, and you're talking to people and you start to see that nobody's interested in your offer, maybe you're talking to the wrong people.
Yeah, for sure. I got to know this morning. I have to share this with you. I got to know this morning. I sent a connection request to someone. I want to have a conversation with them, talk about some of the things that I know, and offered, wanted to add value. And he accepted my connection request. Yay for that. So that's a win. And then he says, no thanks. like the canned no thanks. So I said, okay, hey, I get it. Would it be okay? Would you be interested in an invitation to a conversation that I'm having next week that is super relevant to you? And immediately goes, sure thing. I'm like, okay, right? Like, I want the yes, of course I do, but the no likely was I probably asked too much for the relationship that we had, or he doesn't have time, or what? Who cares? It doesn't matter, right? I mean, that's the other thing I think that folks miss here is the other person says no for their reasons, right? It's probably not even all about us.
That's such a good point. I love that you brought that up. I need to actually remember to talk about that more because we don't know what's going on with people. And yeah, it may have even you're coming back with the second offer phrased in a different way to say, well, what about this? Might have caused this person to go like, okay, wait a minute. Let me see who this guy is and really see maybe I'm missing something here and I need to check this out because he seems kind of hell bent on connecting with me and offering me value. So maybe there's a reason. And so good for you. I mean, that is go for no in its essence. That is exactly how it should work. And if he had come back and said no, then you'd be like clear that, okay, I'm definitely going to let this cool off. And for whatever reason, it's just not a good fit. And maybe you'd never go back to him again, whatever. Maybe you'd try later, just see if something changed.
Absolutely. And I think that's the important thing that you said there is don't keep hammering on the no. It might be just a no for right now. You might be having a bad day. Along that same line, I had someone the other day that basically felt like I was copying and pasting a message and sending it to her. Someone that I actually know pretty well.
I was going to say, you would know.
That's interesting, right? I was like, no, why would I, I appreciate that, but nope, not doing that. And I kind of was like, sorry, I guess I got to work on my messaging skills. Now I haven't heard back because likely if that's how she felt, then likely the next message is going to feel spammy too at that time. But a couple days down the road, perhaps she reviews it and says, oh yeah, okay, I know Phil. He was actually trying to help me here.
Right.
I mean, that's there's no reason to spam people on LinkedIn. Like, there's no reason at all because it just doesn't work. We're not getting married on LinkedIn. I just want to try to add some value. And if that can add value, then maybe one day we get a conversation. And if not, that's okay too. So, so that's interesting. So with that, Andrea, the book is great, but I love your jumpstart here, your 21-day challenge. I think this is super cool, right? A proven jumpstart program for implementing go for no. And I love this, right? Getting results fast. The most important thing, right? Because we want that fast. So talk us through a little bit of what's in the challenge and why because I think it's great. I love it.
Thanks. So we created that during the pandemic. Well, we're still in a pandemic, basically. We created it during the first part of the pandemic in 2020. We were sitting around going like, okay, well, we're not speaking anywhere. So let's create this tool that can help people. It's really kind of takes people through the process of doing a challenge and then gives people a tracking sheet. It's kind of fun because you come up with a no goal. So you decide how many no's you're going to get every day. We have business no's. So this could be asking for appointments, asking for connections on LinkedIn, literally anything that you want. So business no's and then personal as well. Example, I've been messaging with Nordic Track on Twitter because my treadmill now supposed to be, they claimed 10 to 14 days. Now we're over 30 days. Treadmill supposedly coming next week. So I DM'd them because they're not picking up their phone. They're not, oh my God, I think I'm one of many. But I very respectfully, because I'm doing this challenge right now for people, and I just said, hey, because they've been keeping me in the loop, and now the treadmill's supposedly coming next week to the delivery center, and I said, well, listen, do you guys give any refunds back? I know they're not going to do it. Like but this is what Go for No is. I'm like, hey, you want to give me a discount on my treadmill for waiting so long? Literally, I haven't heard anything because I'm sure they're like, what is she asking this for? Of course we don't do that. But you never know. Like, you literally never know. I'm anticipating maybe they'll say like, well, we'll give you 3 months free to the iFit,
There you go.
online training or whatever on the treadmill, whatever, I just have to ask. So the challenge tracker in there is a tool to keep people having their no awareness, writing down their no goals. There's a little section in there every day where you pick out a big fish. So if there's like a big, scary or challenging person that you want to go after, that you want to connect with, whatever. The other thing on there is just to rank your effort. I had one lady in my challenge right now. So I took that workbook and I brought it to life. So I'm actually doing like a coaching group around it. And she said, I haven't been able to rate my effort very high. And I said, well, is that because you're not spending enough time? And she said, no, not time. But she goes, I realize like I need to go after higher quality leads and higher quality so that the revenue that could be generated is worth my effort. Like my effort just isn't big enough. So it's interesting, the epiphanies that people have. And, you can do it in a group like what I do, or the great thing about this product that we created is it's self-directed. So you fill it out every day, and the whole goal is just to get you in the mindset of practicing to ask. And if you get a bunch of no's, I guarantee you will also get some yeses. You just will.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just statistically speaking, unless you're the world's worst sales professional, in which case you're probably not a sales professional. Unless you're the world's worst, you're going to get some yeses. So if nothing else, you get the practice of, hey, here's my value proposition. Hey, here's how I ask. Here's how I leave a voicemail. Here's how I send an email. Here's how I send a LinkedIn connection, whatever it is. Or even to your point, right, asking for discounts. Maybe it's 21 days of calling, your credit card and your subscription services and saying, hey, I'd like to get a month free, or I'd like to, skip a month or whatever. And if you get one yes, or 3 months free, like you're talking about, right? That would be awesome. I'd be like, yay, that's cool. And it's good practice for those bigger ones. So maybe start small for some of these folks. You mentioned your other person who's realizing it's they're not going after big enough fish, which is really interesting to me. I think that's a great epiphany. Any other good epiphanies out of that, Andrea, that you've heard?
Oh my gosh, so many people. Like one of the people in our challenge, his wife is in a wheelchair. They were going out to dinner, and they literally just wanted to use a door that the restaurant had blocked off, and it would be so helpful to them. And he's British. He's the nicest guy in the whole world. And he says, like us Brits, we don't want to ever impose upon anybody. But he realized, I'm in the challenge, so I just need to ask, can we use this door instead of the other inconvenient door? And you think like, well, that should be a skill that we all have. But sometimes we're just taught not to do that. And there's so many times, Phil, where people, and I get it, I'm this way too. I am totally this way. You don't want to impose. You don't want to interrupt. You don't want to be a bother. And I think that's because we all want to be liked. And, that's kind of wired into us. We don't want to be rejected. We want to be liked. So there's a lot of stuff that we just don't ask for. And yet I think that our fellow human wants to help. So we kind of have to look at it and say, like, well, give him a chance to help you. Like, let's open this door, which will help your wife. So he's going to do that in the future, and ask for that. So there's just like all these powerful epiphanies, and some of them aren't $1 million deals. Some of them are just like it's just a little bit of everyday courage, basically.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. Yeah. I love that. I'm actually working on a presentation right now that I'm actually giving a little later today, and I talk about the 7 magic words. Right? I was hoping you could help me.
Ooh, the 7 magic words. That is a sticky.
You like that
title?
Thanks.
Yes.
So, but right, I was hoping you could help me.
Okay.
And then ask for what you want, right?
Yeah.
And that could be, hey, I was hoping you could help me. Are you the person who does this? Or I was hoping you could help me, right? Are you interested in this? And I think if we start from there, right? From there, and to your point, give people a chance to help, or in your words, right, to say no. Well, now we might get some more yeses. So I think that's super valuable for folks to think about and to consider as they go. So much goodness in here. One of the questions you ask in your challenge, though, is how do we maintain that positive mindset, right? I hate hearing no, Andrea. I'm not going to lie to you. I hate being rejected. It is really hard for me. I like to be liked. It's super important to me. I will tell you, I'm for a sales guy, I probably have more fear of rejection than probably most. So how do we stay positive when it's like, no, no, no? Did I say no? Yet. No, no. 9.
Let me say it in a million different languages.
Right.
I know. I'm with you. And Richard and I say all the time, if we were one of these fearless salespeople or in the top 1%, like sometimes we'll be back in the day, we'd speak to a group of 1,000 people. There'd always be one person who would walk up after and be like, I'm so glad you guys were here for everybody else. I have zero problem hearing no. I love rejection. I can get it all day long. And I say, well, you're in the minority, because you're right. The majority of people, right? The majority of people, and us included, we couldn't have written go for no if we were fearless and if we were like, just get over it. Like, what's the problem? And mindset is a huge part of it. We're wired to not get rejected. They've done research that shows that rejection is literally painful. I mean, it feels like physical pain. In fact, one of the ladies in my group, she said, sometimes before I'm going to pick up the phone, I have I don't know if it's anxiety per se, but like where she feels sick to her stomach, like just literally ill, just thinking about it. So there's so much emotion tied to it. And all we can do, Phil, is just kind of fight through that fear. It's the most cliche thing in the world. I hate to say it because I wish I had some, brilliant answer, which was some twist on it. And, that whole feel the fear and do it anyway is so true that you just have to push through it. But for me, when we get down and we get a ton of those rejections, it's just to remember that our brain, I say to myself, like, your brain is just trying to protect you. Your brain thinks that you're an idiot, and your brain thinks that you're going to make stupid mistakes, and that the only thing that your brain has to catastrophize everything, like, oh my gosh, you just got 9 no's. One more, and I'm telling you, you are going to be living on the street like tomorrow. That's you, right? Your brain is telling you these things because your brain doesn't trust your judgment. It knows better than than your consciousness. So we've got to remind ourselves that that's not how we're not living back in the day where we had to forage for berries, and that if we get one more rejection, we're going to be thrown out of the tribe and all of that. And then the other thing is just we got to surround ourselves with good people, upbeat people. I'm a big fan of music. Like, music can change your state. There's songs I can listen to where literally I can start listening to. There's one, Josh Groban. He's kind of like this opera singer guy. I can listen to, he got famous on this show called Ally McBeal. Yep. One of his songs, halfway through, it doesn't matter what mood I'm in, I can be in tears listening to that song. Like, if I ever had to ever had to act on camera, I would listen to this song. I could be in tears halfway through. It doesn't matter how happy I am. Upbeat music, it's the same thing. If you're feeling down and you feel like things are just, you just don't feel good, it's music can change your state. That's a simple thing. And I know it's like, really, music? But yeah, I mean, you got to do what you can to keep yourself up and to keep pushing through those no's.
Yeah. Well, the phone a friend, right? I love that. I use that one a lot. Right? So I want to feel better, so I'm going to phone a friend, right? Yeah. Then your point about music is great. Josh Groban is fun. I like Ben Rector's song "Brand New." It always makes me feel better. And if you watch the video on YouTube, it's fantastic. It's a great video. He actually he brought in fans to go to an amusement park and spent the day filming at the amusement park. And it's such a great, like, I'm getting chills just thinking about it. Like, it's a great song. It's so good. So Ben, if Ben's watching, Ben, I would love to have you on the show. I'm a huge fan. I heard him on Donald Miller's podcast actually years ago.
Ben, right? You need to come on the show. We're both asking. We're both going for no here.
That's it. I like it. Yeah. So I'm gonna keep reaching out though. Ben's someone, because to that point, I dislike no so much. The good news is in high school, I didn't ever ask anybody out, so I was never rejected. It worked out really well for me. So I was 0 for 0. So
right.
Yep, that's good, right? So that's 1,000. I mean, if we do the math there, maybe not. So
exactly, yeah. maybe not. But now you know, and you've got a great girl, so you're all good.
I do. Yeah, I have the best one, so I feel very fortunate for that. So yeah, so it's cool. So I love the book. I mean, Andrea, we talked like 10, 15 years ago about this, a long time ago. It's still just as relevant today. It's so interesting to me that a little itty bitty book can be so darn impactful. So give us, like, if people want more, right? Obviously, go to goforno.com. Andrea's got some awesome, Andrea and Richard have great stuff there. Go check it out. Get the book, right? It's totally inexpensive and probably the best money you'll spend this week on a sales tool. I'm not kidding you. Like, whatever you're selling. Yeah, for sure. It's great. And so, Andrea, if folks want to get started, though, if they're like, okay, all right, Phil, Andrea, I'm ready to go for now.
Right.
How do we get started on the journey?
So go to goforno.com. First thing you should do, sign up for our motivational email that we send out once a month. And the second thing to do is on the website, look for the NQ quiz, the no quotient quiz. Take the 20-question quiz so that you can see where you are in terms of your thoughts, attitudes, mindset around failure, rejection, hearing the word no. It's a fun quiz. And then read the book. And then I highly encourage you to jump into our online course where you can go deeper into the Go for No concepts and also be part of our private Facebook group where I post daily motivation. We talk about this stuff daily because I think it was Zig Ziglar who said that motivation is like bathing. You have to do it every day. Well, it's the same thing with motivation. You got to keep your mindset correct when it comes to Go for No.
That's awesome. I love that. Yeah, goforno.com. Listen, I'm a big fan. I've got the book. I've got the workbook, the challenge, if you will. So that's pretty cool. You know what? I didn't know about the community on Facebook. So I'm going to go there after that. I can't believe that I'm not signed up for that yet. That's crazy. But yeah, that's great. But friends, if you're listening, you're like, holy crap, right? I need to sell more, or even, hey, I want to get in, get a refund, or I want something, right? Go for no. Get a copy of the book. It's easy to read. It's a fable. It's helpful. It's really helpful. Like I said, I've read it probably 20, 30 times over the years. It's great.
Wow.
And Andrea, you're fantastic, and I appreciate all that you've shared. And I really hope, I mean this, friends, I strenuously encourage you, go to goforno.com, sign up for the email, get motivated, right?
I like your use of strenuously. It reminds me of the scene in A Few Good Men where they strenuously object.
Yeah.
And she goes, you strenuously object?
Yeah. You can't handle the truth.
That's right.
Sign up for Go for No, right? So that's it. But get to know Andrea more. Andrea, thanks as always. It's always great to see you and talk to you. I really appreciate you, my friend.
You are so much fun, and I like you so much, Phil. So there, you have somebody who likes you.
Yay, I have a friend.
You got a yes today.
Hello, Andrea. Yes, I need a friend. Thanks. Goodbye.
I like the phone a friend strategy.
Right? You came up with it. I just renamed it, so that's good. But yeah,
well, I wrote it down.
It's yours now. Thanks, Andrea.
Okay. Thanks.